everybody. Hey! Welcome to this, the first town hall of the 2020 Hollywood Fringe Festival. And welcome to all of you. Quick poll. Who here is new? First year. Who is here? Yay! Congratulations to all of you. And 1-year veterans? 2-year veterans? Keep your hands up. 3-year veterans? 4-year veterans? 5-year veterans? 6-year veterans? 7-year veterans? Okay, Scott. 8-year veterans? Scott and Matt. 9-year veterans? 10-year veterans? 11-year veterans? You now know you're lying.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody. This is actually one of my favorite parts, is we get to meet all the new, fresh, wonderful faces. So thank you all for coming to this wonderful thing that we call Fringe. I've had a pretty weird day, so this is going to be interesting. We're going to see how this goes. This will be the 11th time that I've given this speech, not including the one we gave back in 2009, right? Yeah, 2009, which was our first one. I remember we were at the Theater of Note space, which isn't the largest space. And we showed up thinking that maybe 12 people will come. We're doing this Fringe Festival thing. It turns out that people were literally sitting on the floor to my feet. And I was like, holy crap, we might actually have something going on here. And that's the history of the Fringe. Thank you. Next section. I'm going to be a little obnoxious and look at my phone. It's not Instagram that I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at what I want to talk about. Although you should look at Instagram at the Hollywood Fringe account. Or hashtag HFF20, which is where we're going with that. So terrific. I'd like to give a big shout out and a thank you to our friends at the Broadwater for giving us this wonderful, beautiful, amazing space. So big thank you to them. How wonderful. It's actually funny. Back in 2010, my first time giving this speech, I had an iPad, which those of you will remember technologically was relatively in its infancy. And I felt so cool. And they're like, what is that magical electrical device that man is looking at? And now I just look like a douchebag looking at a phone. So that's how far we've come. I want to tell you right now that this is being taped right now. The camera is technically pointed at me, but you are in the room, so I do need to tell you this is being taped. Congratulations, you've just consented. I'd also like to say that this will be available ultimately, like all Fringe events, on Fringe TV. Does everyone know what Fringe TV is? Well, you're about to. Fringe TV is effectively the broadcasting arm of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. We do a lot of fun stuff. As you go through this process, and fear not actually fear is healthy. But as you conquer your fears, you will notice that you will get multiple opportunities to also involve yourselves in Fringe TV. There's thematic fun things. We did a little labyrinth feature thing. I think last year was the kind of the Lord of the Rings themed year. Fantasy, fair enough, fantasy. We did superhero before that. Do we know what this year is? No, we're going to find out, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a surprise what the theme is. But ultimately, we'll have chances for you guys to be a part of Fringe TV as well. But in the meantime, youtube.com/Hollywood Fringe. Hit that subscribe button, and you won't miss anything. Hitting that subscribe button, liking the videos, sharing the videos, even the ones you're not in, are a wonderful way to help promote the festival. And the one thing you're going to hear me say over and over again, that even though you might have come here today as individuals, you will leave as a community. And that is the most important thing to realize. That this is not a festival where you are in competition with one another. No. This is a festival where we support each other. Literally, the business plan of the Hollywood Fringe Festival assumes and takes for granted of the fact that we're all supporting each other, that we're seeing each other's shows, that we're promoting each other's shows. This isn't a competitive thing. Please, no questions about the awards today. Okay, there'll be plenty of time to talk about them. But this is a beautiful, wonderful community. The whole point is that this is an opportunity to practice your art, to try new things, and to meet new people and new potential partners, friends, dare I say, future people you get married to. Yes, that has happened several times at this point. for all of you single people out there, it was my wife and I were not quite married yet when we started this, but we got married during this. So it is real. You will find best friends through this. You will find great partners through this. You will be a part of a very loving, supportive community. So as you, the wonderful people in this room right now, and all of the wonderful people out there, I'm looking directly at the camera. I'll look this way. All the wonderful people out there that are also a part of this, know that what this is about is community. And it's about supporting one another. So there you go. This is the first tangent you'll hear from me. It won't be the last. So the Fringe is a giant subject, right? We're not going to talk about everything tonight. That's why we have multiple town halls. We have multiple workshops in this process. We basically, I think a lot of you might be here like thinking about, do I want to do this crazy Fringe thing? I don't know. And a lot of you people might be, it's like, I've made a decision, I'm doing the Fringe thing. But I'm kind of scared and I don't know what to do. But know this, is that you have the utmost support from us as the Fringe staff. Is if you feel you don't know what you're doing, that's okay. That's okay. Surprisingly, you have a lot of time. We designed this process, and it's been proven over 10 years to give you folks the time to build up, to learn about the marketing aspects, about the budgeting aspects, about the production aspects, about the technical aspects, all required to produce a quality Fringe show that people will like, that people will come to, that will make you feel good and proud. This is a great Hobbit-like adventure that you have begun here. I'm reading The Hobbit to my daughter now, which is one of the greatest things I've ever done. But in any case, tangent. This is one of the greatest adventures that you will embark upon, and by the end of it, you will be tired. You will be exhilarated. You will feel like you've actually done something, and you will remember it until the end of your life. This is a big deal, and you guys have all shown great bravery and courage to come here and have the confidence to be able to express something intimate about yourself, which is what great theater is after all, sharing something intimate about yourself with a group of strangers. So speaking to all of you who are currently mostly strangers, I say, we all have an intimate relationship. That sounded wrong. We all have an intimacy now together. And the staff is here as well, and you'll have an intimate relationship with them. Again, put backwards. And everyone together will be here because we're doing, and this is an official term, intimate theater. You can see me. You can see the beads of sweat on my face. You can see me emoting. You can see these things. That's what's beautiful about this, right? Is that we're all in this communion together. And that's what you're going to be doing. And it takes great bravery and great strength. And you've taken the first step. So, congratulations. Okay. Let me look at my phone again. What are we going to talk about today? As I said, the Fringe is a huge subject. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about getting started. What it means to get started at the Fringe. We're going to talk about planning. We're going to be talking about budgeting. There will be math, but just a little. I know we were all more on the English side of the SATs than the math side, at least most of us. But we will be talking about a wee bit of math just to get you started. And then there will be successive town halls and workshops about this. I strongly encourage you to come to the workshops. If you see me on the stage, and there's 2 of them this year, that means it's a town hall. And it's great. It's great. I've done this for a while, and I'll tell you what I've learned. But if you want real knowledge about how to participate in this, come join the workshops, because you will have a panel of people who have actually done this before that you can ask questions on and what's worked and what hasn't. So I strongly encourage you to come to those. And one of the great rules of Fringe, read your email, because it could be the New York Times. Or let's be faced, it could be the LA Times. It's probably not the New York Times. But it could be, you never know what's going to come in via email. One of the big rules is read your email. Read the blasts that we send out via newsletters, and read those messages you get from people that could be press requests. So read your email, or they could be the schedule of events you could come to. It could be resources to learn from that you can benefit in your Fringe adventure. So terrific. When you need help, if you don't find it on the support portal, or Sportal, as we call it, which is Hollywood Fringe, support.hollywoodfringe.org. Support.hollywoodfringe.org. A lot of knowledge up there. Most of the questions we think you want to know are up there. If you don't get the information you get at support.hollywoodfringe.org, email support@hollywoodfringe.org. And we have Dave. He's not here. There he is. There's Dave right there. Has anyone emailed support yet? Anyone? Okay, yes. This is Dave. He's the guy who's going to be, okay, here's the thing. Today, you say, I don't know, I haven't. In 2 months, when I say Dave at support, you're all going to be applauding because he gets back to you incredibly fast with incredibly good knowledge. I do the speaking on stage. He does the real work of the actual responding to you via the many emails that you send asking questions. So Dave, this guy over here in the corner, is the guy that's going to be responding to you. Okay, I'm going to talk for a while about a few subjects. I'm going to try to get done within about a 60-minute time frame. There will be a Q&A session after this. And then after all of this, we're going to meet at the Plunge over there. Thank you. Over there. The geography of this particular building always confuses me. Over there. That's another thing, in case you haven't learned it yet. We are about community, coming and mingling. Whether you drink, whether you don't drink, it doesn't make any difference. It's not a big deal. But being a part of the community, coming and meeting people and talking to people and participating in this is 40% of what this, I pulled that number out of my butt. 40% of what this is all about is getting to know other people. You want a successful Fringe show? Get to know Fringe people. It's your base, right? We all know about all the BS politics right now about like what base means at this point. Your base are the people in this room, are the people out there, the people who go to these workshops and these events. That's your base. Your friends and family are your base. If you're starting from nothing, the people that you already know and the people you know through this process are the people who are going to be in your houses. And then something magical is going to happen. Someone's going to be in your house. You have no idea how they found out. You're going to be sitting there as a producer in the back row or on the stage looking out in the audience. You're going to be like, who the hell is that guy? And they must have learned it through my marketing. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be the most exhilarating feeling in your life. But in any case, participate in the mixers, participate in the office hours. You know, whenever there's a chance to meet new people, meet new people. If you're a loner, fine, get a producer. Get someone who will go to the events. Find a partner who will go to the events, who's a people person, who can meet people. Like, however he works, participating in the community. The community is the greatest thing we have to offer to you, and it's the greatest marketing thing that you could take advantage of. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to talk a little more, but first, now's the time. Who saw the Mr. Rogers movie? Now's the time for staff announcements. So we have some staff. Raise your hand if you're staff. Oh, look, they're all sitting together. And over here. This is Matt Cumming-Murray, by the way. He is our staff photographer. Has anyone met him yet? Right now, you're applauding. You find an actor and a photographer. You find a great relationship. So, like, there's Matt. He's going to be taking your pictures. Who over here in staff has an announcement to make? All right. Fight. All right. Alex.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Prim. I'm the events manager for the Fringe Festival. So basically, I do the party planning. I help produce the panels, the workshops. So next week. Yeah, next Tuesday, February 11th, we're going to have our last off-season office hours right here at the Plunge. It's going to be Tuesday, February 11th from 7 to 10 p.m. So that's what he's talking about, like, come, mingle with us. All of us in staff, you're always free to talk to. And if you have any questions at all about the events, please email me at alex@hollywoodfringe.org. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Alex. And Ellen.
Director. I wanted to do two announcements. First, like Alex said, if you're ever at any events and you're like, oh, I don't know who to talk to, please come and see me or one of these lovely people, because we're always here to connect you with everybody. You can tell us like, I'm nervous about this, or I want to talk to somebody like this, and we'll try and connect you with the producer that has done something similar to you. And also our scholarship, I also run our scholarship program, which will be announced mid-February. If you have questions about that, you can always ask me. I'll be at the event after this.
Anybody else? Bella!
Hi everybody, I'm Bella. I run social social media for the Fringe. I also am the cabaret director, which you'll learn more about a little later. But social media, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, and as of like 3 days ago, we have TikTok. What? I made these guys film a bunch of stuff earlier. They all looked incredibly stupid and wonderful. So please go follow us there. It's amazing. All the social media across the board is at Hollywood Fringe. At Hollywood Fringe across everything. If you are on Twitter, we do this thing every year in the months leading up to the festival, Twitter chats. So those are going to be starting sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'll get those dates out to you, so keep an eye out for those. I think that's it. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have an Instagram takeover by a couple people who are going where?
Adelaide.
To Adelaide. So that'll be all kinds of.
That's in Australia.
It's like far away. She's next.
This is
Hey.
Lois.
Partnership director. I just want to add, mostly I work with outside organizations, but the mixer afterward is also a donation from the Plunge. 20% of sales is going back to the Fringe, therefore back to you and your adventures through the Fringe. It's the final kickoff or final celebration of our donor campaign. So I'm sure you got all those emails. Thank you for reading. So this is that last chance to drink for a good cause.
So feel free to order the expensive drinks. Anyone else? Any other staff? No, Scott? No? Okay. All right. Let's move forward then. Let's talk a little bit about what is Fringe. What is Fringe? What is this thing? Well, we begin by history, because we talk about history here. We have history. We have 10 years of history. But believe it or not, the history of Fringe goes well before that. Back to, and I'm going to begin this as how I initially sold the Fringe 12 years ago. We all sold the Fringe 12 years ago. We were first talking about it, which was, and every sentence began like this. In 1947, okay. In 1947, in Edinburgh, Scotland, do people know about the Edinburgh Festival Fringe? A lot of people. Okay, people know that it's called the Festival Fringe and not the Fringe Festival. The Fringe Festival is a North American invention. What fringes used to be, and this is why they're called fringes, for those Anglophiles out there, fringe generally is their term for off Broadway. I mean, effectively, it's the fringe of the theater world. In 1947, it was after the war. People were looking for a grand event to bring Europe together in a celebration of the arts. This was not the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. This was an event called the Edinburgh International Festival, or the EIF, which still exists and is very good if you're into snooty theater and opera and whatnot. It's basically that. It's high performing arts, not high. You got me. Okay, it's the upper performing arts. It's very extremely well produced type of stuff, and that's what people were invited to, it being the key word. You needed to be invited, like a lot of festivals these days. Well, a lot of people didn't like that. They felt that they had a good idea. They felt like they had something to share. So they just showed up around the fringes of the festival. Thus, the Edinburgh Festival Fringe was born. I think it was 8 British companies showed up along the fringes. It took something like 20 years for it to actually organize into some sort of organization, that had a name and a brand and all that sort of stuff. And today, the Edinburgh Festival Fringe is the largest arts events in the world. It is mass. Anybody been? Okay, right? I mean, it's amazing. Matt Quinn knows. It's one of the wonders of the world. You go and you are overwhelmed. Like, we're a pretty big festival, right? There's 300 and some shows last year. Pretty big, right? We are one venue in the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. You go there and you are overwhelmed with the crowds and the audience and the amount of shows. Their guide is like that big, and it's 8.5 by 11. It's massive, and it's wonderful. And this concept of the Fringe over time spread throughout the world to the point where every continent now has Fringe festivals. Canada has a massive Fringe Festival network. And the United States, in almost every major city, depending on how you define that, has a Fringe Festival. We started ours, we started planning ours in 2008. It was crazy. You're planning something 2 years ahead. This is LA. You have the idea and you do it in 2 days. No, we did 2 years of planning for this, and our first festival had about 127 participating shows, which was amazing. We're like, how did this possibly happen? So let's talk for a moment. And there is this thing called Fringe, and yes, many, many cities have this thing called Fringe. But there's no business franchise type relationship. Every festival in and of itself is unique. It's uniquely produced and managed, just like ours is. And everyone's a little different. And the best advice that actually we got was from the founder, one of the founders of the New York City Fringe, who talked to us in 2008. And he said, the most important thing for you to do is to match the festival to the city. And we put a lot of thought into that, about what does the city need and what does the city like. So what does the city need? What does the city need? It needs a time and place for the performing arts, because we're vast in Los Angeles. It's giant, right? Arts are happening all the time. One of the most obnoxious things that people said to me when we were planning is, isn't every day in Los Angeles a Fringe Festival? I mean, there's all these fringy shows happening. Right, okay, but how many days can you go see 8 shows back to back in a single day, which you can do, by the way, at the Hollywood Fringe Festival. And you can do that every day of everything and not even come close to seeing every show, right? It's math and time and space, and we're not Time Lords, so we really can't do much. Thank you for the 6 people who laughed at the Doctor Who joke. Okay, well, where was I? I got hung up on the Doctor Who joke. Right, but can you say that about any other time and place in Los Angeles? We give performing arts a time and a place, and that's important, right? So let's talk a little bit about what we are, and almost as important about what we are not. We have a nice situation at Fringe. We don't ever have to say no to most things, right? There's not a whole lot of no. It's yes, yes, yes and for all you improv fans. So what is it? What it is a performing arts festival, okay? A performing arts festival. We are not a film festival. I think LA's probably pretty good with those. So we are not a film festival. Come ask me afterwards. We did have a film component at some point. It didn't go well. I'll talk to you more about that later. We're not a music festival. We generally don't have bands. Unless you are more, how do you say, Tenacious D in nature. More Flight of the Conchords in nature, you might say. Theatrical music absolutely does happen here. Musicals happen here, operas happen here, operettas happen here. But if you have a fantastic rock band, maybe not the crowd that you're looking to, maybe not the aesthetic that people are used to, but you know, it is, again, open access. What does that mean? What is open access? Open access basically means anyone can participate. There's no one up in some office with like a beard, I don't know why I said that, saying this is like, that's good, or that's bad, or you can come and you cannot come. Literally everyone can come. These people in the offices for the past 12 years, they always have beards. I don't know why, but it's like, basically we're open for all. Anyone can come. We're not going to censor you at all. You can be as controversial as you want. You can be as mainstream as you want. You can do a 3.5-hour Hamlet on stage if you want. You can also do a Hamlet where all the actors are dogs. You can do that. Not a dog's Hamlet, literally dogs. Like, you can do that at the Fringe Festival if you want. There you go. I would go see that. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, that this tutu solid paw. Okay, again, thank you for a few more people who knew Hamlet's first soliloquy. We are community-centered, if I didn't make that clear already. Community is key. Your key to success, there's some people out there right now and being like, you kidding me? My shit is great, man. People are just going to come because it's awesome. No, they won't. I'm telling you right now, they won't. Your shit may be awesome. But if you're a jerk, we're going to get to that, and if you just take for granted that you're, God's gift, and people are going to come see you, and you don't go to the events, and you don't really ask other people things, trust me, welcome to 10% of your Fringe Festival community this year. It will happen. They won't come see your show, okay? You can't be that way. You have to be open. You have to be a part of the great team, or you will not be rewarded for just being God's gift to theater. It's not going to happen. It is an opportunity to try experimental work and ideas. That doesn't mean you have to. Again, it doesn't have to be experimental. But it is an opportunity for you to try. What we give you, and this is something we'll tell to you, but I've been told not to say to the press, it is a freedom to fail environment. You want to do a show in Los Angeles? Apparently now it's every year I feel something happens to make it more and more expensive. But you want to do a show in Los Angeles, you might book a venue for an 8-week run out of nothing. Good luck. It could be a $100,000 disaster. That's altogether possible. Worst case scenario here, you're going to have a $1,000 disaster if you follow our advice. Not a big deal. It's not Titanic. You could have a fantastic success, but worst case scenario, you haven't mortgaged your house and your children's college funds, and you're left with nothing, which does happen in the actual larger non-Fringe theater world. God bless it. God's bless it. It is also an opportunity to refine existing work. Or if you're a touring artist, probably you're over there, you touring artists, we love you. Or you have a work that you tried in the past and you want to refine it with a new audience and you get to the Fringe Festival, this is a fantastic opportunity to do that. And yes, it is an opportunity to build audiences. Some of you out there have dreams of starting a theater company. Me too. One day I will start a theater company. But not now. But some of you might have a dream of starting a theater company. Anyone will tell you that the currency of your theater company comes out to your list, right? And this is an opportunity to build your list. People you can email when you have new shows, people who like the work you do, that want to see something else happen. So let's talk about the flip side of the positive, which is the negative, and what it isn't. It is not curated. Again, open access. We're not going to accept or not accept you. Congratulations, we're accepting you. We're not going to say too controversial, too bad, not what we're looking for. That's not what we're going to say. That's not what the Hollywood Fringe Festival is about. It's what some other Fringe festivals are about, but just a few. It is not a place where you send us your play. It hasn't happened very often, but it does happen. People send us their manuscript. It's not, no. It is something you bring a fully produced play to. And I think most of the people in this room hopefully know that it is potentially a place to find a producer and actors and directors and designers, all this sort of thing. But it's not a place to submit your play and we produce it. That's not how this particular festival works. It's other festivals, by all means. This is important, and it's important to mention. It is not an aesthetic. One of my pet peeves, I have a couple. One of my pet peeves is someone saying, that show's really fringy, man. Okay. Fringy is like weird, like wacky, man. Like it's crazy. By all means, be fringy. By all means, be kooky and crazy. Like go for it. You can if you want to, but it doesn't need to be. And that's not what we are. We're not an aesthetic. We're a model. And it doesn't sound particularly sexier, but yet here we are. We are a model of how you can produce a show, not an aesthetic. Don't feel that you need to be weird to be a Fringe show. There are some tricks, when we're talking about tricks, about marketing, and that's going to be in later workshops in town halls, we're talking about hooks and stuff, like what's your elevator pitch? What makes your show different than the other 300 plus shows out there? That's important. But it doesn't need to be a weirdness competition. It's okay. We're all weird. You will no doubt hear this in a future speech of mine. about how we all share weirdness, that was a little preview. It's possible that might jump into a speech at the award ceremony. Okay, you heard it first here. And it is not, okay, here we go. I'm putting my phone away. It is not a place for jerks. We have one rule, and I'm going to put an asterisk by this rule this year. But we have one rule, and we talked about not needing to say no that much. Here's where we say no. It is not a place for jerks. And let me give you an anecdote, and let me give you further definition. Here's the anecdote. Now, I give this every year, and it's my favorite Fringe story. Oh, I'm setting up the expectations. We were in a different venue over at the wonderful Hudson Theaters, and in a room much like this. And I was standing here giving this very, very speech about how it is not a place for jerks. There was this person in like the front row who was just not having anything I was throwing down. And like everybody else was like most of yours, like, okay, this sounds pretty good. I don't know about this guy, but it sounds pretty good. And the person in the front row was going, it's like, making like, I didn't know what I was saying. But I did notice it. And then I said, this is not a place for jerks. And I said the one rule, which to quote is no jerks allowed. And then this person stood up with, and walked out the door. And then I waited a moment, and I was like, one down. So, it is not a place for jerks. Be nice to one another. Respect one another. Our currency is respect for everyone. Respect the staff. Respect your bartenders, wherever you go. Respect our partners. Respect each other. Respect each other's shows. Realize that you might not love what they're doing behind the proscenium or out in the streets or in the round or however they do it. You might not like that. But you got to respect the fact that they put themselves out there, just like you. What's that poem? An artist is walking on a trapeze artist. Everyone's looking at them. That poem? It's like that. They're revealing a very intimate part of themselves. That, whether it's great to you or shit to you, is irrelevant. They are putting themselves out there like you are. Jung talked about the shadow, and it's like, they can't put themselves out there, whatever, they suck. I mean, that's you talking, right? That's your own insecurities talking, right? Try to fight against that shit, and realizing that even if you don't like what they're doing, respect what they're trying to do, and respect each other for that. Okay, I said there was an asterisk, and I want to say this asterisk, because we live in a society where we respect each other, and sometimes respect can be quantified, and we have attempted to quantify it in our code of conduct. There is a conduct expectation here to further expound upon the concept of being a jerk. And I know that jerk in this society can be defined in many ways, and I think a lot of us who turn on the news can see jerks walking down the road with their idiot little walkers. And I think most of you know what I'm talking about. Anybody, please? Okay. Talk about Harvey Weinstein. Okay. There are jerks out there. That there are people who take advantage. And there are people who use their power for ill means. And there are people who treat each other with disrespect, sexually or non-sexually, verbally, physically, that we have a zero tolerance for that. So I'm sure that we're all great people in there, and there are probably great people out there, but there might be people out there that are thinking this is okay, and this is some sort of phase. I promise you, you will find your ass on the pavement incredibly quick if you pull any of that stuff here. My heart's pounding. Get angry. But this is something very serious. Like, we need to treat each other with respect, and we have very, very little patience for that. So if any of you encounter any of this stuff happening at this festival, you need to please let us know. Because we have a group of people on staff that are dedicated to dealing with these problems. And we will listen to you. We have posted, where's Ellen? Oh, that's it. Okay, good. I want to hear this part. But we have posted a code of conduct. It's on our support portal, support.hollywoodfringe.org. These are the expectations. If you find anyone violating this code of conduct, please let us know. We promote a safe space because by the very nature of what we do a lot of unsafe things. We put ourselves out there, right? And we don't need any of this bullshit, like interrupting with our safe space. So if you find anyone violating that, and please, if you are the victim of any of this, please let us know. We will keep your name absolutely out of it, and we will help defend you, and we will adjudicate the problem, and we will take care of it. So there we go. I used to just say don't be a jerk, and I used to say that was a really small thing. It was the only rule. But honestly, don't be a jerk covers a lot. It's a big subject because there are a lot of jerks, and we don't want any of them in this festival. So that's all I'll say about that. Sorry to bring us down. Let's talk about other things. Okay, workshops and town halls. We talked about a little bit of those. We're going to define all those. Check your email. We're going to see where they go. We're going to talk about a few important dates. By the way, if you feel to write, tweet, text, take pictures, I won't be offended. It's not second grade. February 1st, participant registration open. Guess what? That's today. So participant registration is now open. So those of you that have gone on the website and created projects, now you can go through and actually finish your registration. So that's something that can happen. April 1st is a date we should all burn into our brain a little bit. That is the registration deadline. Now, what does that mean? The registration deadline, if you want to be included in the printed guide, because we don't yet exactly live in a world where you have Harry Potter paper and you can beam things to paper. We live in a world where there are print deadlines. We need to have you registered and all sorted out by April 1st. April 15th is another big date. It's our ads date and our guide official lockdown date. So you need to be registered by April 1st. You need to have all of your venues booked by April 15th. So that's a big deal. We're going to talk about that process. What's the difference between registration versus venue booking? And then May 1st, your tickets are on sale, and it's officially time to start panicking. June. We have a whole town hall devoted to helping you not panic. This happens around May 1st, so don't worry. Panicking is a perfectly natural reaction. June 4th through June 9th are previews. We're going to talk a little bit about previews. What are previews? Previews are your opportunities to get those butts in the seats. It's your opportunity to put things on its feet without the expectation that it's actually the official festival proper. So previews, that's basically what it is. It's also an opportunity when a lot of press come and see shows. It's an opportunity to build up things. We're going to talk about preview strategies a little bit, and I'm sure that a lot of our workshop folks will talk about preview strategies as well. It's a tool for you guys to use as you will. June 10th. June 10th is the opening night party. It is your chance to actually you literally can't have a performance on June 10th. We don't let you. It's like the venues physically can't schedule a performance on June 10th because it's your one day to come together as a group and to sort of unwind however you unwind in life, to say it's like we're all part of this, we're a big party. About 1,000 people show up at the opening night party every year. It is the biggest theater party in Los Angeles, I can say with some level of confidence. Some of the other award shows might argue with me, but it is a fantastic, wonderful community gathering where we all come together. Come to the opening night party. You've got to come to the opening night party. It is a little bit of unwinding before the festival proper begins on July 11th through. Anybody want to correct me? June 11th to June, I'm sleeping by July 11th. June 11th through June 28th, and that is the Fringe Festival 2020. And then June 28th, we have our awards ceremony. Please don't ask me about it today, and our closing night party. Okay, so those are some dates to keep in mind. We also have Twitter chats coming up. We have additional workshops and town halls coming up. We have office hours coming up. You talked about office hours, right? Yeah. Okay, good.
February 11th.
There we go. That's the next one. Come to office hours. They're so much fun. They're so much fun. If you can, come to office hours. Everyone's name tags and talks, and it's fun. You don't need to drink. You drink soda water like me, and you'll be fine. Registering. Okay, let's talk about registering because we give you a lot of flexibility. With great flexibility comes many choices, as Spider-Man didn't say. So let's talk about the general 3 steps of registering. Basically, here's what you need. You need to make an online project. You need a project online. And this is like the system of record for all things involving your project. It is your homepage. It is the page you're going to be advertising. hollywoodfringe.org/add_project, or just follow the register my show link from the homepage. But that's where you actually add your project. That's the first step. You need that. Okay? All of that data is what ultimately feeds into the website that you're going to be using to promote your show, the mobile app which we're making this year, and everything that people are going to see, your system of record for everything. It's where you're going to be selling tickets. Okay, so make that online project, number 1. Number 2, you need to book your venue. Now here's what makes us a little different than other festivals that you might have heard of or been to. We don't say you must be in this venue. We don't assign you venues. You guys get to choose your venues. Speaking of which, any venues in the house tonight? You want to say some things? I'll start over here. Venues?
Hi, I'm Jen. I have 3 venues. I have Studio Stage, the Arena Stage, and Howard Fine. They range from 35 seats to 100. So come talk to me. I have open houses coming up.
I'm Amber, and this is Josh. We run the Lounge Theater and the Zephyr Theater. They're within those 2 locations, we have 3 theaters. They range from 50 to 25 seats. Talk to me afterwards.
Awesome. And? Oh.
Hi, I'm Matthew Quinn. I run Theater Asylum. We have 8 different venues scattered throughout Hollywood, from 25 seats to 100 plus seats. I will be around today with cards and happy to talk, set up a tour. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. I like the hairdo. It's a little poofy. Yeah, it's looking good. So awesome. Yes, you need to independently book your venues with these fine people and beyond. If you go to hollywoodfringe/venues or click on the venues link on hollywoodfringe.org, you will see a bunch of venues there. Choose wisely. There's various factors to consider with venues. One is how big it is, and sometimes people's eyes exceed their grasp. Yeah, sure. So think about it, because the bigger a venue is, usually the more expensive it is, right? Be honest with yourself, okay? None of us, and you'll let me say this a couple times, none of us want you to lose money on this venture that you're making right now. It's much better, if this is your first time out, to sell out a 25-seat house than to have 25 people in 100, right? That's a lot better. It's better for your ego. That's the first thing. It's generally better for your cast, as they feel like they have a full house, and it's substantially better for your checkbook, for those of you who still use checks. It's for your Venmo account. Consider that. Consider a location. Is it near things that you want it to be near? There's obviously this thing called Theater Row, which is where we're on. There are a lot of theaters. There's a lot of theater foot traffic. There's also this thing called Hollywood Boulevard. Hollywood Boulevard is where all the people are walking around going like this, wondering where George Clooney is. And that's Hollywood Boulevard. But in their search for Clooney, they might feel that they want to see some theater that night because there's not a whole lot of stuff to do. So there's flyering opportunities. There's pushing people in the door opportunities up on Hollywood Boulevard and up you go. There's the Cahuenga Pass. There's tons of restaurants around there that you can see they have partnerships with. Think about location. We're going to Q&A right after. Can it wait?
It was I was in the restroom and I missed announcing the Rent Theater at the Irish Import Shop on Vine. Great deals, and it's about 45 seats. Yeah, and we're trying to establish it as a.
And you're the venue manager.
I am the manager.
Okay, there it is. There it is. So this is another venue. There we go. There we go. Venue, kind of together over there. So yes, after this, by all means, is there all the venues going to be at the mixer after this? So you'll be able to chat with them as well. So please do, because as we're talking about right now, booking a venue is a very important part of this process. So we talked about putting together your online project. We talked about booking your venues, and a lot of that is a bit of an analog process to start. You're making calls, you're doing tours. You might be, if you're at home in Adelaide, Australia, say, and you're looking for venues. A lot of our venues have videos. By all means, email them, call them, talk to them, tour them if you can, get an idea, put together a contract on paper so you understand it. Part of what we're trying to do here is train you as producers, right? You will feel that. You will feel it heavily, the training of producers here. And part of that is learning how to deal with contracts, is learning to find what you want, is this dealing with checkbook issues, as it were. So we have online booking, online project, venue booking, and then we have this process of registering for the Fringe. So the Fringe prices are as follows. The price that most of you are going to pay to register for the Fringe is $300. That's the basic registration price. And note, that is the price to take part, to participate in the Fringe. That fee gets you all of the wonderful things and communities that you get here. For example, and I have them written down, it gets you the ability to sell ticket sales through the web, through the phone, through the app, through walk-ups. It gets you various different discounts that we all put together in a nice participant packet for you, ranging from flyer distribution to working with printing companies to photography to videography, all sorts of aspects that you require to put together your production. It gets you discounted ads on the Fringe site. The Fringe site gets millions of hits during this time. It's a great way. And we're going to talk about marketing strategies. You're going to talk to a lot of our workshop folks about marketing strategies. But like basically putting together those impressions on people so they see that artwork like 5-6 times, or like, maybe I should see that, says your brain subconsciously to yourself after seeing all these things and having these things burned in your brain. It'll give you participant support from Dave over here, which will guide you through every aspect of this. It will get you the opportunity to see reviews, not only on the Fringe site, but also in the press. It will get you access to a promoted festival and access to everything that all these things we're talking about, including butts and seats from people who just come to see the festival and see what's going on. It gets you fun and networking and opportunity. We had a tagline we used to push hard a while ago, and it was the Hollywood Fringe Festival. See shows, make friends, have fun. And ultimately, when you distill everything down into it, you're seeing shows, awesome. You're making friends. I like making friends, and you're having fun. It's a good time. We put the play back in play. Thank you. And we're adding new promotions all the time. And we announce that before, during, and after the participant packet comes out. So you'll see a lot of different things for you to take advantage of. So yes, the 3 things just to get started are create your online project, book your venue, and register for the Fringe. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Feel free to come and ask questions during the question and answer session. I also want to talk to our international participants who are probably not here right now. Congratulations if you flew over here to see this. But we do have international programs. We actually have something on support.hollywoodfringe.org to help you get across the border in a way in this particular environment that will actually work. We'll write invitation letters for you. Please read the information on support.hollywoodfringe under international section, and we will help you. So thank you, and hi again. Okay. Let's talk about, let's be really gauche and talk about money. Okay. As I said, it is in our absolute, this is the math part, just a little bit. It is absolutely in our interest that you don't lose money in this, and we want to help you. And we already talked about your venue selection, which is one of the most important selections you'll make. is which venue do I want to choose, which venue works for me. If you feel you can fill this beautiful house, then book this theater. Absolutely, if you can, right? But if you're not sure and you're just starting, maybe a 20-seater or a 25-seater might be better for you. Think about these questions and be honest with yourself. We talked a little bit about how much this costs. So let's put it all together, right? Okay, so you have your registration fee. $300 is the base fee, and that's if it is a multi-performance that you charge money for. So if you have more than one performance and you charge money at the door for those performances, which I assume is going to be most of you, and if data shows it's like 90+% of you. If you charge money at the door and you have multiple performances, $300 is the fee. If you have a bunch of performances and they're all free, first of all, nice, very nice, $175. We don't want to take your money if you're charging it for free. Or if you have one performance, if you have like just a one-off performance that you charge money for, then it's $175 too. So $300 charge at the door, and you have multiple performances. $175, all your performances are free. $175 if you just have one performance that you charge money for. Okay? We also have a workshop program. Workshop. What is a workshop? A workshop is not what some of us define a workshop is something that's not really ready yet. That's not what we consider a workshop program. A workshop show is something that involves some form of educational exchange between your audience. You have a workshop on how to go to Edinburgh Fringe. You have a workshop of how to act good, stuff like that. That is a workshop. A workshop is not a show that's not quite on its feet, but you want to get in front of an audience. That's just a show. Okay? That's a show that you probably want to rehearse more. We've had a couple staged readings. Not recommended. Okay? Do a staged reading before your Fringe show. And then do a Fringe show where your cast knows their lines. It's just a tip. I'm not saying you can't do a stage reading. I'm saying that. So if you want to do a workshop, and a lot of you have a lot of stuff in your minds that you want to share with the world, we encourage you to share this with the world. It's $50. But here's a nice special thing. Ha ha ha. What if you are a participant already, if you already have a show, you can register one workshop for free. Okay? So if you have something in your mind, because you know something that you think that other people might benefit from, and you have registered a show with the Fringe, you can take advantage of the $0 registration for one workshop. And guess what? You can charge money. We want to help you support yourselves. And so if you have something you know that you want to share, and you've already registered for a show, congratulations. You can create one if you want. I mean, you're going to have to find a venue. The venues might still charge. But you don't owe us a dime. So that's how that works. Okay, now I promised you math, and here it comes. Okay, how to budget. Okay, I budgeted for a lot of stuff, and we obviously budget for this giant monstrous beast, and I've weirdly done a pretty good job most of the time, so I've learned a couple things about budgeting. And I will share them with you, and it will take 5 minutes. Okay, let's talk a little bit about ticket price. Based on our data, the average ticket price is about $12. It's about $12. The average show length is, what did you say, Matt? 45, what did you say, Jen?
Somewhere between 60 and 90.
Somewhere between 60 and 90.
Yeah, I mean, 55, 60. A lot of Fringe touring shows are at 55.
Yeah.
1 hour.
1 hour. Let's say 1 hour is the average. I mean, but you can have a 20-minute show, and some people might thank you at the end. You'd be like, really? That's it? I love this show. I mean, that happens. We talk about the currency of the Fringe. There's two big currencies. If you're a patron, which all of you will be, right? A patron of other people's Fringe shows. And the currencies are time and money, you know? Obviously, money is a currency because it's silly. But time is also a currency. Some people will say, this is a 2-hour show. Ooh, I don't know about 2 hours. I mean, just to let you know, I'm not saying don't do a 2-hour show. But I am telling you that it is not the norm. And people will want to see 6 shows. They really want to see that extra show. And they say, this show looks really cool, 2 hours. Oh, it better be good. It better have a lot of hype. I'm just letting you know. Same thing with money. $12 is the norm. $10 is, okay, cool. $5 is, whoa, sweet, value. $20 is, better be good. $30 is, for a lot of people. I mean, some of us are used to see shows at other theater companies that we won't name that cost $85 because they have Jeff Goldblum in them or something like that. It's like, and like maybe they're willing to shell that out. This giant performance values and the beautiful theater and stuff, all that sort of stuff. Not so much with the Fringe Festival. Let's say the average is $12. Well, if it's a big cast musical, people might go up to 15. Wouldn't you say, Matt, Jen, 15? A big cast musical, 15. Go beyond 15 at your peril. So build that into your calculation. If you have a big, giant following already, because you already are the hits of the Ren Fair, then you. But if you're just starting, just that's what people expect. Okay, so we're starting that. Let's just start with that $12 number. Okay, now you take that ticket price, multiply it by the capacity of the theater. See, math, the capacity of the theater, right? So let's say it's 100 just to make things easy. So I take 12, multiply it by 100, and that's 75. See, it's making that theater person math joke. 12. It's 12. That's 1,200. So your max gross, meaning all the money that you can make in a given show, is $1,200. Should you bank on that? Determine what your sell-through is. In my experience, the wisest percentage to go with, and the percentage that I've always gone with, is the slightly optimistic but cautious 60%. Some people go 40%, but I always go with the 60% because I'm an optimist. So just above 50% filled, is how I feel. And that's what I'm going to target my marketing to do, to just get that 60%. There's 60% of the people in the house, I'm happy, right? So I want to sell 60 seats, right, of that 100. So I want to tell 60 seats times let's just say $10 because it's easier. What does that equal?
600.
Well done. Okay, fantastic. Now take that number, multiply it by the number of performances that you have. Let's say you have 5, well, I'll say 10 performances. Let's say 10 performances, okay? And what does that equal?
$6,000.
$6,000, which is a hefty sum. Okay, congratulations. You can already go like, great, I'm going home. But no, you haven't in your show yet, so you shouldn't go home. Okay, now, that's this side of our income statement, right? Now we have the revenue figured out. We have our capacity, we have our ticket price, and we have our sell-through rate, which is that percentage. And I say 60%, some people say 40, some people say 80. Do as you will. But you have it. Not 100. Okay, thanks. I made my opinion known. And that's on this side of the income statement. On this side of the income statement, you have, sorry, too close to the camera. This side of the income statement, you have your expenses, right? Now, what are your expenses? There's expenses you can't get away with, right? There's the registration fee, there's the venue fee. Can't do anything about those. They are fixed in time, except you can choose the right venue. And we talked a little bit about that. But then you have a production fee on top of that. How much is it going to cost to build those huge sets? I would not suggest having helicopters land on stage and dinosaurs rolling across the stage while like in 1,700 cues with gobos like in the background and disco balls sitting from the sky and all that stuff. I would not say have the Downton Abbey closet for your costumes. I would say, maybe you're incredibly rich. I don't know. But I'm saying if you're looking to break even in a Fringe show, that's not expected, okay? People aren't expecting great spectacle. The spectacle is in their hearts. When they see the wonderful art that you put on stage, it does not need to be in the gym. People aren't expecting that. Here's the thing. Most venues, you got 15 minutes in and you got 15 minutes out. If you can legitimately move a dinosaur in a helicopter in 15 minutes, congratulations, but you probably can't. So when you're thinking about production fees, Think the off-Broadway production of The Fantastics. A box and some clown costumes. I mean, that will be fine. A few cues using the default cues that the venues give you. That'll be fine. Like that's what people are expecting. People are expecting that the real drama and the value to be the writing and the cleverness and the interaction of the actors on stage and the direction. All these human things, not the fancy set stuff. Okay, you've got that. Registration fee, venue fee, production fee. That's all over here on the expense side, right? You might want to pay your actors. You might need to pay your actors. It really depends. We're not going to answer union questions. Some of you might have union questions. We say talk to the union about your union questions. If you have union actors, I'd strongly suggest that you talk to the union. But like, pay your actors as you will. Pay your design staff if you will. Pay your directors as you will. You are the producer. These are various things that you have to learn and will learn as we go through the workshop series over here. Okay, those are your expenses. Okay, now, so over here you have income, and over here you have expenses. Now there might be a gap, and the gap is usually over here. Okay, now that gap between expenses and income and revenue, guess what that is? That's the amount of money you need to raise. And you can raise through asking your friends. You can raise by going public and listing on the, no, don't do that. You can raise by Indiegogo, Kickstarter type things, or Facebook donations, all the things. And these are great things to ask some of the workshop people. How do you raise money, right? Because it's an important part of that. And then you have a balanced budget, right? And guess what? Now that you have a balanced budget with all this math, what if that sell-through rate goes up? And it's actually 70%, 80%. Now you have what the boys on Wall Street call a profit, okay? And you can put that profit towards your next production, right? Or in your pockets, I guess, if you really want to go that way. But like we say, put it towards your next production, building that company. Because you've clearly got something that's speaking to people, right? So this is how to budget. Use a spreadsheet, use a Word document, use whatever you need to use, but do it. Put together a budget. Now is the time. Go home tonight. Tomorrow it's late. Go home tomorrow. Go home tonight and then tomorrow. Put together a budget and work through that and think about these things first. It will help guide you and help you make decisions. Be constrained by your budget. You know, some things don't cost money, and some things do. Oh, you know what I forgot over here? Advertising. How could I forget about advertising? There's a lot of free advertising. We're over here in the expense, in case you didn't notice. Marketing, advertising, ad buys. There's obviously a lot of stuff that comes for free. What comes for free? Well, going to bars and not drinking anything comes for free. Not tonight, though. You should drink the expensive drinks. But it's like, in general, being a part of the community, going to see other people's shows, doing ticket swaps and that sort of things, like that can be free. Social media is free, unless you're paying Facebook a ton of money to promote yourself. But there's stuff you can do for free. Then think about. You can buy ads in other magazines. You can buy ads in the Fringe guide. You can buy ads on the Fringe website. You need to put together flyers in this day and age. There's going to come a time where I'm going to say, and I'm going to be very happy to say, you don't need to do flyers anymore, but you kind of need to do flyers. You need to do flyers. You got to think about interesting art because it's going to define it. Put on the cover of the flyer. Do not have a one-sided flyer. I said I had some pet peeves. Do not, thank you. Do not have you save yourself like 5 cents. And you're like, oh, cool, and you take up the flyer, and you're like, this looks really neat, cool artwork. I can tell you put a lot of thought into this, and the title is clever. I kind of want to see the show. And the other side is blank. Use the other side. Use the other side. Like it just. And here's another thing about flyers. I'm gonna give you a quick pet peeve about flyers. Don't print your own. Don't print your own. I know we live in this world where we all have printers. But there's a big difference in someone going to Staples and buying some semi-fancy paper and printing out and like cutting it between something professionally done. If you spend money on anything, spend money on flyers. And guess what? In our Pearson Bit Packet, we're going to give you deals on how to get some cheap flyers that we've worked with for a long time. Flyer transfer is something that happens. It's your business card at the Fringe. So think about it now. Now's a great time to be thinking about this stuff, about what you want your artwork to be. and how you want it to look, and start looking out there for flyer stuff. So think about that. Okay, we're going to speed things up a little bit because we got to get to the end. But that is the budgeting process. Feel free to ask any questions about the budgeting process. But the most important thing is to have a budget. Have a budget. If you don't have a budget, you're lost financially. You will have a certain sense of anxiety. You won't be able to make decisions. And in the end, you might lose money. And as I've said, nobody here wants you to lose money. Okay, great. A little bit about marketing. We're not going to drill down into this at all. We talked about flyers. We talked about ad buys. There's online stuff. You can do trades. You can have like share flyers with other people and go in halvesies. So you can co-promote. Co-promote is the thing. Co-promoting with other groups. All our emails are both. And this is some strategy that people have used. Come to the workshops. Ask the people who actually know what they're talking about. Questions about what worked for them and didn't work for them. Network. Socialize. Be social. Again, if you're not social, hire a producer who is social, just so that they can go to these things and meet people. Think about your press strategy. Feel free to, we have a whole article on the support portal about dealing with the press and how the press works. We'll talk a little bit about dealing with the press in multiple ways. Note that there isn't much of a theater press exactly. There used to be, when we first started 10 years ago, there was a lot of theater press. And then suddenly, it's like arts education in schools. The first thing these guys cut is the theater reviewers, right? So you need to think creatively. It's almost better. You're freed from trying to get some article in the LA Weekly or the LA Times, right? You can think of like from a genre perspective. Like, I always bring up the zombie genre, because we had this one year where every other show was about zombies. But like, the ones that succeeded, they went to comic book stores, you know? And they were genre specific. So they went to genre specific outlets, and they put up deals, they put up flyers, they put up posters there, they came up with deals. They found their people. Like, what I always say is with marketing, is first, like, there's a lot of cool things about marketing. It's kind of an interesting subject. But literally, figure out who wants to see your shows and give them fake names. That's fun. It is like, Jeff really likes the Avengers. He drives a Prius. And he goes to comic book stores. And he plays Dungeons and Dragons. And like all these things. And Jeff would really like to see my show. And then Louise, like she windsurfs. And anyway, come up with like interests and people. And then that will help you. Because now I'm marketing to Jeff, the Avengers fan, and to Louise, the windsurfer. And I start thinking about, where does Jeff go? Where does Louise go? Where does Jeff read news? Where does Louise read news? Like, where do they learn about new things? And that'll give you perspective on how to market to these people. Literally go through this exercise. It sounds silly. But actually give your fake patrons names and then try to market to them. It actually is a helpful little exercise to figure out how to go out and reach out to them. I don't want to say a whole lot about marketing, except absolutely 100% come to the marketing workshop and listen to the actual Fringe veterans who have done this before, and we'll give you tips on what works and what doesn't work. So that's what I'll say about, that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, we're about done. Why do we do this? Why do we all do this? What is wrong with us? I can speak for myself. I do this because of you guys. Because it's like every year I see new faces, and every year I see really old faces. Thank you, Matt. right there. And it's so wonderful and inspiring. And I'll speak for the rest of the staff for a second. We are constantly inspired by all of you and how courageous you are, right? And we do this work, and it's administrative, and we push and push and push and all this stuff we do. You guys are risking something much bigger, right? You're risking kind of that part of your soul that you put on stage. And that you should not only respect one another, we talked a lot about that, almost too much maybe. You should respect yourselves. You should be really proud of yourselves. And hopefully you have your fear, which is depending on where you are, it is up here. But allow yourselves to also saying, I've taken the first step on a journey that might change my life, right? I've had people walk up to me and say, the Fringe, not changed my life, saved my life. Because I had an outlook of sort of darkness that I was alone. And it was a bad place. It was a really bad place. But I came to the Fringe and realized that I wasn't. Is that like I'm weird, but all these other people are weird too. But we're weird differently, but also kind of in the same way, you know? And we have this bond in that. And it's very special, and it's very magical. It's something that you just won't find at a lot of other events, where you're just going and you're doing your thing, you're getting off stage, and you're just talking to each other. It's more than that. It's almost secondary to what happens before and afterwards. Because what we want to do is develop you as producers. We want to give you opportunities to really challenge yourself and to see yourself, you know, in the mirror and say, I can be this, and I will fight for this. And I care about this. We live in this weird world, kind of sometimes with caring about things is kind of like lame, okay? But like, like it's okay to care about things here. It's okay to really care about your art. People aren't going to make fun of you. People aren't going to judge you. So we do this on the staff to see that and to be inspired every day. By what you guys do and what you guys put on stage. And I hope that the Fringe is something that inspires you too, not just during the month of June, but everything after that. So, with that, who's got questions? Okay, here's the rule. It's second grade rules. We raise our hands. We are called upon. We stand proudly. Where are you going?
I'll be here.
Okay. We stand. You can leave when everyone folks. I'm sorry. It's just Matt. You can stand proudly. You proclaim your name, your show name, and then you ask your questions or make your statement or declaim, whatever you want to do. Yes?
Hi, everyone. I'm Eleonora Owen, and the name of my show is The Return of Edith Piaf. My question is, I like that.
All right.
My question is, so I'm doing a solo performance, and
Yes.
obviously I'm going to be singing in it.
Yes.
So what is the category, musical or solo?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I've done musical so far, but
You're fine.
Yeah?
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing about categories, guys. And we added some categories this year, for those of you who might notice. We added a couple of categories. Yay. What do categories equate to? They basically are a high-level description of what you're doing, however you want to be marketed. Okay? Like, yes, of course, you could have a comedy that is a solo show or a two-person show. You can absolutely. That might happen. Ultimately, it's for you to make the decision about what you want to be lumped into. So that's the one thing. It's a marketing question. It's how you'll be divided, most likely in the guide, which we're kind of reworking this year. It's going to be how you're going to be categorized, how people in the app might find you. But it's also about awards. I said I wasn't going to talk about awards. But we do have an award program at the end, and there are awards for each category, right? And the awards are voted for by the Fringe community at large. People who write reviews, people who see shows, people who host shows, and people who do other things. I don't know, I can't think of it right now. I wrote the algorithm for this session. No. But ultimately, it's two things. It's A, how you want to be marketed, how you want to be identified, and what award category do you want to participate in. So it's up to you. Oh, because, yeah. Like this guy did a show, and there was music, and there was laughs, but you were categorized as a cabaret, right? So it happens. Ultimately, you could fall into 3 or 4 different categories, but it's how you want to be marketed, how do you want to be promoted. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's not a definitive answer because there is no definitive answer. You're welcome. Yes?
Hi, I'm Tom Dugan. My play is The Ghosts of Mary Lincoln. And my question is, is there an average price for the venues?
For the venues? It varies. Jen, you want to jump out?
We can say numbers right now?
You can say whatever you want to say.
It depends on a lot of different things. The size of your venue, obviously, and everyone charges differently, or structures payments differently. So some structure them in such a way that depends on your time and dates. Some of them, like my venue, we do not do that, so it just sort of depends. I can't speak for any other venues, I can speak for mine. Mine range from $750 to about $1,100 or $1,500 for a 5-show package that includes tech and dress. But then it just depends on, you can do more, you can do less, so it all depends.
I'm not as specific as prices, but actually I teach a class on how to produce a Hollywood Fringe show. And one of the things I've broken down going through it is kind of the average of a 50-seat, 60-minute show. You're looking at around $180, $190 per show.
Yeah,
And that will vary based on everything Jen said, and allow us to do packages, but you need to look at insurance as part of it. The tech people are always separate. So that's a lot of us have kind of packaged it. But how to produce a Fringe show, hashtag HFF20 for $20 off, and I'll tell you even more.
And all of us are very, very upfront with all of the venue costs in terms of like, you know, tech people and insurance and anything that's like extra but related to the venue. Even if things are optional, we are very, very upfront about it. So just come and talk to us. We'll tell you all the things.
Several of the venues, including Roadwater, Actors Company, Asylum, Studio Stage has various stages of information venue guides. You can email for them. You can get ours on our website. But yeah, everybody has slightly different tech fees. Everybody has social media and extra benefits associated with it. So.
We truly have some of the best venues in the Fringe Festival world. I mean, like, you might have been to other Fringe festivals, and there certainly are Fringe festivals in the world where the word gouging comes into play. The venues that we've partnered with are very much have your overall budget in mind. So there's a lot of different options, and you can be reasonably confident you won't be gouged. Because the nice thing about us as well is we have this thing called the free market involved. So if venue X charges $150 and venue Y charges $150 and venue Z charges $150 and venue A comes along and charges $600, guess what? No one's going to book at venue A. So there's the aspect of the free market at play too. So keep that in mind, and everyone pretty much knows how much everyone charges, and they're what's great about our venues, I'll say beyond the pricing and how open they are with that, is the stake that many of them take in your success. And how much they help you promote, how much help they give you. It's very important to respect your venue. It's just like if you go to someone's house, you don't poop on their floor. I mean, it's basic stuff, right? I mean, it is like respect the space. Like whether you're in a Fringe-controlled space or a venue-controlled space or some other participants-controlled space, respect, respect, respect. Go overboard on that, and you will be fine. And you'll be fine. You'll be saved. Yes. Oh, everyone will get.
Matthew Domenico, Foxhole Stories, The Ninth Door.
Nice.
Thank you. In comparison to past Fringe seasons, what are some new things that are being added this year for 2020 Fringe?
Oh, like some new stuff.
I know last year you guys added like a bar or something.
Yeah, okay. Well, this Fringe Central, there'll be a pending announcement on that as like sort of a headquarter type space. You can come and there's like concierge stuff and merchandise and bar and community in one space, Fringe safe space. The nice thing is that we have a lot of Fringe friendly places to eat and drink now, thanks in part to our wonderful partnership director, Lois Neville, who goes into and makes these, you met her, she's sitting here, who makes these partnerships for you. Things that are new this year, there's a couple things that are new this year. We've got a mobile app coming out. We talked a little bit about that. We have, help me out here, Alex, what else is new?
Oh gosh, new hotspots.
New hotspots are coming out. What are hotspots, Alex?
Hotspots are the bars, restaurants, shops, retail stores, people that we partner with in the Hollywood area. You show them your little Fringe button, you get 10, 20% off, $1 off a drink. And they're all around, all over Hollywood. We'll tap, yeah.
New awards and new award
categories. We've got new categories and new awards. We added a bunch of things. I think there was recently who here gave money to the Hollywood Fringe Festival donation? Okay, fine, you don't have to say. But maybe, I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying maybe you could. But like in one of our donation emails, we actually went through and said, here are the new categories. I think there was a big email today.
Great.
Yeah, that was a Scott Golden crafted email, I believe. He's gone. That went out that sort of broke down the new categories. What else have we announced in our donation campaign that's new?
Oh, the international.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, the abroad program. We talked a little bit about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have opportunities coming up for you to go places and people to come here, to be incredibly specific.
Expanded scholarship, 13 new shows.
Oh, yes, there's significantly more scholarships. Our scholarship program is something we're very, very, very proud of. We bring people from communities that are usually not served and normally don't have access to the various expenses of putting up a Fringe show, and give them a platform to tell their stories. And we're very proud of our scholarship students. A lot of our scholarship shows have gone on to win awards, have gone on to tour shows and whatnot. And thanks to a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts, yes, the federal government gave us money. We expanded that program from 10 to 13. So by all means, support our scholarship shows. They're wonderful, wonderful. And yes, you have another one?
Oh, I have 2 questions.
Okay, I'll call you in a second. But yes, there are some new things, and there will be new announcements made in the future once we're ready to announce them. So those are just a few new things. And we're adding North Hollywood. No. We're the Metro. We're the Red Line Fringe. Okay, over here.
My name's Jennifer Caldwell, and I'm actually not sure what the name of my show will be, but it will have to do with pooping on the floor.
So that sounds good. It works.
Plastic sheeting, you're good to go.
So anyway, I have 2 questions. One is, I was just wondering, because you have a lot of knowledge about, how things tend to go, and I was thinking that maybe with the smaller venues that sell-through rate gets higher?
Could. It's a judgment call, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it really is about let me put it this way. Put on a piece of paper everyone you know will come to your show. Mm-hmm. I know my mom, my cousin Larry, the crazy cat guy who lives next to me, and put that list together and be honest. The key thing is to be honest with yourself, right? It's that really how many people can I count on, right? And then add up all your seats. So I have a 20-seat house or a 40-seat house times 10, so that's 70. It's not. do that math. And then can I fill 60, 70, 80% of that with the people that I know are going to come? So probably not. But you might have done this show before, and the people are saying, you're going to do that show, you're going to do that show, you're going to see that show again. And then maybe you can start adding on top of that. So you sort of have your base, and then add another 15, 20% to say because I'm networking and I'm meeting new people and I still have people to meet, and I'm going to do ticket swaps, I'm going to bring these people. And then now you have sort of your base plus, and start there. If you make financial decisions, because what we're talking about here is not predicting the absolute future. We're talking about a number where you can make financial decisions off of, right? That's what this number is about. If you sell 90% through, great. You can use that money to go to Broadway. That sort of thing. And by Broadway, I mean downtown. But yeah. It's like that sort of thing. You can use that for the next thing. But be conservative on your spreadsheet. Be crazy liberal on stage. It's like that, right? That's what we want you to do.
I have one other
Sure.
question. Just curious, have you been with the TV stuff? Is there a SAG-AFTRA contract in place for that?
Gosh, no, you're asking the wrong guy. No, not necessarily. This is what we say, check with your union. If you are a member of a given union and therefore have certain constraints on where you can be seen and where you can work and who you can hire, check with your union, make sure you understand that. We generally don't, just like legal questions, we won't answer those questions. We won't answer union questions because we get into trouble. So we say, if you're a member of a union or if you're working with union talent, they answer emails, email them and say, hey, I've got a question about this and this and this is cool, and they'll answer your question.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Matt Ritchie.
Did you talk discount codes?
To who?
Did you talk discount codes?
We didn't talk, but that's a different.
Specific.
That's a different one. Yes, that's a different one. That's a different. You're scaring them. Who else? Yes, just down here. I'll get to everybody. Yes.
Yes. Hi everyone. My name is Spencer Robinson. She works hard for the 80s and 80s drag show.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? I had a question. So what determines the day of the week? So is this like a first come, first serve? Everybody seems like they're gonna want Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Oh,
so is this a venue decision? Is this
I see what you're saying.
Is this a scheduling?
Oh, sure.
Like
I got
what
two things to
determines
say about
what day
that.
of the week you get?
Oh, sure. I got two things to say about that.
Yes.
Number one, it's venue by venue. And I'd say talk to your venue, see what's available. I know a lot of venues do a package where you get so many prime time shows and so many not prime time shows, like, right?
And there's pros and cons.
There is.
You say prime time, everyone wants Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 8.
And guess what?
Then you look in the guide and you're like, there's 15 shows I want to see and I can go to one of them.
That.
But if you have a nice varied schedule where sometimes it's a late night, sometimes it's prime time, sometimes it's a weekday evening, then you can tell people, hey, if you can't come on Friday, that's cool, come on Saturday at 11. And a show like a cabaret type thing, totally fine.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
Be great.
And also, are Mondays good? Do we know if Mondays? What are Mondays looking like for the?
Monday is the least scheduled time period. The least amount of performances are on Mondays. You have very little other challenges on people's time.
Also think about industry standards that majority of actors typically have Mondays off.
Yeah.
So that's when you actually can gain audience's ability to come if they're in the industry, and also there's less performances around Fringe as a whole.
The trick is to give a variety of different times. Any slot can be good depending on how you market it. But really I think it's spreading it out over the course of a month. You need that time in between shows to work your next audience. You don't want to do a traditional 8 o'clock Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You want different times all throughout. You can make any time work if you work it. And the average number of shows is 5 that people do.
And we have Stina over here, our volunteer director.
Hello, everybody. I missed the staff introduction earlier, so I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Stina, I'm the volunteer director. If you're interested in volunteering for the festival, I am the person to talk to. If you're interested in offering comp or discount tickets to Fringe volunteers, I am the person to talk to. And I'll be at the meet and greet afterwards tonight. When this is all over and you're exiting, you're going to exit out the main door, which is probably not the way you came in. So go this way when you exit, not that way.
Thank you, Stina. Thank you very much. Yay! We love our volunteers. We love them very deeply. Some of the best ways. All staff members began as volunteers, by the way. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it was. Very helpful.
Very good. Okay, fantastic. Let's go over here for a change. Everyone's going to get a chance. Don't worry.
Hi, my name's Eric Billitzer. I'm doing a solo show called Nobody Needs Another Hamlet. Thanks. And if the title gets allowed, thank you very much. I have a question about ticket pricing, and you were very good to talk about the average price and all that. So I'm considering, should it be 10, should it be 5, or should it be free? In your experience, like if you offer free tickets, and I know there are shows that are, then do you risk a lot of no-shows and not filling your theater that way?
Yes. For example, how many people register, buy tickets for the town halls and workshops and don't show up because it's free? 50%. Yes, you do risk that. Now, here's the thing. Yes, you can do free shows, and God's bless you. You did free show. That's really nice. Now, you have another option though, which is pay what you can. Pay what you can, and you can set suggested prices for pay what you can. We're going to go in depth in this and how to work the website once ticketing is up and stuff like that. But know that while you're planning, what some people do is you offer pay what you can tickets, which basically allows them to enter in a number based on a suggested price, right? And here's the other thing. You can have some performances that are pay what you can and some performances that are paid. Every performance can have a different price if you want. You can schedule it that way. What a lot of people do is that Previews are pay what you can, because butts and seats, that's previews. And then once they launch, they go through the regular prices, be them 10 or 12 or 15 or 5 or 10 or whatever you want to do. Another thing I'll say about performances, and I'll get you, yeah, absolutely. You suddenly get something to say. Another thing I'll say about performance scheduling is think about the elements of a phenomenon, all right? Generally, Fringe sleeper hits, to use an industry term here at Fringe, is they happen over time. You might be constricted because of travel or whatever, and you need to get all your performance done in a week. Like I think Matt said, the average is 5. Someone said the average is 5. Right, five-ish, right? If you have the opportunity to, schedule a preview, then one in week 1, one the weekend of week 1, one in week 2, one in the weekdays of week 3, one in the weekend of week 3. Because that first one, they might have like 5 people that are like, oh my God, I just found like the best show ever. And if you play your cards right, and you've networked, and you found those people, let's call them connectors, let's say the mavens, the people that, the influencers, to use a modern term, the people that people ask questions. People will go up to Matt Quinn or Matt Ritchie, everyone named Matt, basically. We'll get into that later. They'll ask Jen, they'll ask any of these people you see that are talking, Amber, any of these people that see you talking right now, what's good this year? Because there's so many shows. Well, if you get these people that come see your shows, not necessarily these people, but like people like that to see your shows, then they'll be like, I was in this show, there's only 5 people in it, but it's the best thing I've ever seen. People love that shit. They're like, really? I'm getting early on this? It's like getting early on a stock. It's like, you're like, now I want to see this show. And then what you got is buzz. And then now your show's a quarter full. And you're like, something's going on, because I don't know that guy, I don't know that guy, I don't know that guy. And then people are like, oh my God, this is great. And they tell all their friends to see the show. And then this is what's happening. This hockey stick type of thing is happening. So you have your last performance, and it's sold out. Or you'll have your third to last performance and it's sold out. And you're like, holy crap, I need to schedule more performances. So you're running to people like Jen and Matt and Amber saying, do you have any other slots? I have a phenomenon on my hand here. At which point you can add more performances, you can have more success, get more eyeballs, more butts and seats, more money, all these sorts of things. So allow your baby to have time to grow over time, if you can. If you can. Amber, you're going to say something?
Oh, just back to the ticket pricing, that average is 12 to 15, but you can also aim for 12 or 15 and then offer discount codes, because everyone is a sucker for discount codes.
Well, the other thing that's really helpful is offering a participant rate. So your greatest, cheerleaders are going to be other Fringe producers and other Fringe participants, because they're going to do just what Ben just said. They're going to talk about it and everyone's going to go. So that's something, I have a theater company as well as a venue, so that's something that we've always done is, maybe our ticket price will be 15, but our participant rate is always 5. Because there are participants who see, I think the record now is somewhere between 85 and 90 shows in June. My husband saw 69 in 17 days.
I was going to say, Greg.
I know. Yeah. But so you have to think about those people too. Is that if you're seeing 85 shows, it's impossible unless you're super rich. But if we're doing this festival, probably not. To pay $20 a show. So, but the participants, I love that as participants. Just like, oh, it's $5. But then they're going to go out and talk about it. So that's something to think about.
Is there anybody here who's doing an immersive show? Is looking at the immersive market. So I will add, it's a real sub-note, they've added category immersive a couple years ago. Immersive breaks that rule because of the nature of it. So I book shows where it's one audience member going through a show for 15 minutes and they charge $30. Then there was a show where it was a 2-hour production where you got into a van and drove around LA, and that was $50. Now, that exists in Fringe because in the outside world, that ticket would be $100 and $150. So it breaks the mold of what we've always been saying of $12. But if you have an immersive show, check with other merchants, check in with me, but there is a level. I'll introduce you to people too to find what's a good fringe level for your particular merchant show.
And once you have a venue, obviously, I mean, you can use us as sounding boards. You can always just email us as well. We're happy.
And we'll
to
send
share
you to different people. Like, oh, this show, you need a kitchen? Oh, you gotta go check out Jen and Greg's space. So we're aware of each other's things.
And there was like the discount code thing. Yes, that is an option that you can set on your tickets as well. Once we get to ticketing, like if like you went to say Emerson, and there's like a quadrillion people that went to Emerson living in LA doing theater or some weird thing. You can have a discount code called Emerson, and you invite all your Emerson people. And for Emerson people, you can make it more expensive, I guess, because they can probably afford it. But in most places, you probably make it less. You make it like $8 versus a $10. And then you also have the benefit of being able to track the success of how many people who I gave the Emerson code actually came, and you can track that as well. So there's lots of different ways to help market your show based on price. Does that answer all of your questions? That's a lot.
And is there a workshop on ticket prices at some point, or?
Yes, that's going to be our marketing workshop.
Yes, yes. Okay. And then the next time you see me on stage, we'll be talking about a little bit about ticketing too, and how ticketing works, how the website works, all the various levels of the configuration that you can set, and all that sort of stuff.
Thank you.
Great. Yes, I will get to everyone.
Can I get up? My name is Victor Sotomayor. I have been doing Fringe for 2 years. This year will be my first time on stage. Scary. It's going to be the Mother Trials at Studio Stage. Anyways, the question is there going to be a Fringe Central this year?
Did you put them up?
I did not.
Well, we're not ready to announce anything quite yet. Once we have plans solidified, we will definitely let people know where we are with that. Believe it or not, it's difficult to get real estate in Hollywood. We'll let you know. We'll certainly make it a big announcement when it happens. Up here. Oh, he was wondering if there was a Fringe Central this year. Fringe Central historically has been an up and down thing. Back in the early days, we had these big spaces called Fringe Central, which was like a big sort of central party zone. And then Hollywood changed a little bit, and those big spaces became extraordinarily expensive for a nonprofit festival. So we needed to make them slightly smaller. Then one year we didn't have a Fringe Central because our Fringe Central got basically condemned. And then last year we had a smaller Fringe Central, and we're still working out the plans for this year. But that was back before we had all these wonderful partnering bars, like the one you're about to be in, at the Plunge a little bit later. So now there are multiple places to hang out. When we first started, we needed to really fill a gap because there was no great Fringe meeting place, so we created one. The nice thing about the environment now and the ecosystem now is there's a lot of great, very safe Fringe spaces to hang out in. And we'll let you know what they all are once we publish things. So yes, it's about going to places where people will say, oh, this is a fringy place. I hate that word. This is a Fringe place. We honor Fringe prices. You can get cheap drinks here if that's your thing, stuff like that. So yeah, Fringe Central, we'll let everyone know when we know, and officially. Over here, and everyone will get it.
Hi, my name is Susanna Snowden. Our show is The Mermaid and the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's a long one. We're at the Dory Theater. And my question, at the complex,
Hi.
Manager before, and that is my director. My question for you is, do you have any advice or tips for making triple sure that in the eyes of the federal government, we are not companies and our actors and our stage managers and tech people are independent contractors because of the
gosh.
that has happened. Just like
Yeah, it was. You mean the state of California in this case, right? Who wants to answer this question? Anybody?
There is a meeting.
We're not lawyers.
Yeah, there is a meeting Monday at 10 a.m. at Greenway Theater.
Yeah.
Where, and I hopefully there'll be some attorneys and people in the room. There's going to be two wonderful. Oh, good. Okay. That's at 10 a.m. I think the community's talking about it. A lot of people are working on it. There's been some interesting articles in the LA Times. I just saw one. So
yeah, me too.
The call is out.
Yeah.
There is a concern. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the performing specific to performing arts companies. It's that LA Times article, right?
Yeah, it's this whole what is fine arts.
What is fine arts, right?
So it's kind of
right.
California lawyers for the arts, I think, are jumping in.
So yeah, we don't have the answers to that question quite yet. I mean, we're pretty much in the same boat as everyone on our lack of understanding of the purposefully vague language that the geniuses in Sacramento put together. First one question: who's really annoyed that they've had their hands up for a long time? I haven't called on them yet. Oh, you already answered your question right here.
I'm Layla Abdo. My show is
I'll get back
From
to you.
A to Zata. It's a food diary of my quarter life crisis with real Lebanese food that I'll be making.
Are you going to share with the audience?
Yes, it's for people.
Immersive.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so
Immersive.
coming to that show.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could speak more to press strategy.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. Scott here? Oh. Okay, fair enough. Well, first of all, I'd say Scott Golden is our publicity. He works with our publicity. We'll get to know him. I think he didn't introduce himself. He's probably in the bar. But press strategy, right? So we have an article on the support portal at support.hollywoodfringe.org that, amongst other things, gives a few tips on how to deal with the press. One of them is to, this is a really good workshop question because you get asked, like, what's worked and what hasn't worked against the workshop. I would say, yes, have a press strategy. Good one. I would say, like, learn how to write a press release is a really high-level one. There is actually a way to write a press release. There's a quadrillion examples of what press releases look like. I would say, introduce yourself to press nicely, maybe with an introduction and then follow up with a press release, so something personal, and then something sort of general with a press release. I would say absolutely don't ever include a press release as a PDF because they don't read them. But that works. Always put your press release, if it's in an email, in the actual body. I would say check out our article. There are some outlets that we've listed there that list the actual press that actually cover theater in Los Angeles and beyond. And find out who the editors, the key journalists are, add them to a press list, create a press list. That press list could exist in something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, make it look professional. Also on the website, we have a part of the project page. Remember I talked about that online project page where you can post your press releases. When you post your press releases there's a spot on the Hollywood Fringe website, hollywoodfringe.org/press, where we list all of the press releases posted. A lot of people in the press will not see your show unless you have a press release, FYI. There's also a process that we give you through the Fringe to allow press to request tickets through the website. So they can select their performance, the show, the performance, how many tickets that they want. It's obnoxious to ask for more than one, but do as you will. You will get an email saying congratulations, we have a new press request. You click a button, we have a pre-filled comp ticket thing ready for you. All you have to do is hit approved. I'd say put together some form of digital or physical press packet. And it could be a branded folder, it could just be a plain folder with a sticker, it could be something that has information on the background of your play. Imagine that you are a journalist wanting to write an article about your play, or your show, or your experience, or whatever it is. Give them the background, the tool, the context, information on previous performances, on the actors, on the directors, on the writers. Include all that in there so that it gives them fodder to write stories if they so choose to. And then think out of the box. Don't just think about the LA Times, the New York Times, and the LA Weekly, and stuff like that. I would say focus on bloggers internationally that might be interested, bloggers that are specific to the genre that you're looking for, and then follow up sparingly and respectfully. Don't pester, don't spam. Realize that everyone's after the time and attention, the ink of these journalists. So we do have a process at the Hollywood Fringe where we give accreditation to press. So there are accredited press. They will have lanyards with badges that say press on them. That's your way of knowing that we have done some due diligence. We know that they actually do have press and it's not just some blog that has 2 entries because they want free tickets. We do a little bit of that work. But other than that, it's a bit caveat emptor. Like if someone asks for press releases and it's not through the Fringe website, like the formal way through the Fringe website, do a little research, beware, it could be someone just wanting to get free tickets, which is also kind of cool if they want free tickets to your show. I mean, like, we're not exactly, like Broadway here. People want to see my show, great, but maybe you could pay for tickets. There's that. So those are just a few. Check out that article, ask questions at the workshops, at the marketing workshops. It's a new weird world with press, and it seems like it changes every year. There's some strategies that work, there's some strategies that don't. There's some strategies that worked really well 10 years ago that don't work anymore. But ultimately, it's about knowing your show, knowing your audience, knowing who wants to write about you. It's that sort of thing. Create a little profile about the journalist who might want to write for you and look for that journalist. Call them Jeff or Jeff the Press or something like that. And find Jeff the Press. And tell them why, in your friendly introduction email, why they might be interested based on the other stuff that they've written about. It comes down to research and professionalism. So yeah, that was a lot.
There's also people that you can hire, that a bunch of us know, come talk to me, but there's also people that you can hire to write your press release, and they have a whole press list all ready to go, and they have a relationship with people. So it may be something to look into. It's another expense, but it's something to look into if all of that is overwhelming.
It is, and that is a way you can go. Also, be cautious there too,
yes.
Because there's a lot of publicists who will charge you a lot of money with a lot of promises. Be aware. Make sure that you've met other people that they've been successful with. The more they know about theater, the better. The more of your friends that have used them successfully, the better. You might get unsolicited emails here and there because you're doing a show about, I'm a publicist, I can make you huge, I can sell you all this sort of stuff. Not necessarily, okay? And they want this much money and they guarantee that. And you're doing your math, like they can sell at my houses. That means I can afford their $4,000 fee. I mean, right? So just be cautious. There are, we don't necessarily recommend publicists. A lot of Fringe participants have had really good experiences with publicists, and I've heard some very bad experiences too. So it's about making sure that they're legit and they can help you and they understand you and they're willing to listen to you and use your best judgment. Sweet. Thank you. Yes! That's you.
Cool. I'm Mike Shapiro. My show is a musical called Gideon and the Blunder Smoke. And
you can ask this guy your questions too, because he sells a lot of tickets.
There's a feature that the Edinburgh app has, and I'm curious if you stole it, because I really love it. And that's this thing where you've got a map. It kind of ties into your location, and it shows you what's going on near you, and what show is happening like the next 20 minutes, so you can make a spontaneous visit to something that you might not be aware of.
Well, here is the app right now. Okay.
That was Facebook.
Yeah. Caught. There's a Trump ad right here. It must be. Sorry, got all political. Yes, literally, when you open up our app, the first thing you're going to see is near you. So yes, I call it near and next in my head. I think it's like, to me, near and next is a great Fringe strategy because Fringe is about trying weird things sometimes as a patron. And when we're talking, like when I'm giving interviews to people, the greater world outside of our bubble here, about how do you do this thing. It's not like there's like 10 shows, one a night that I can go to. There's 70 shows a night that I can go to, right? And I always said I like to play a little game. It's called Near and Next. It's basically saying, I saw a show and I'm going to a bar and I'm having a Shirley Temple, and I'm like, they're actually pretty good. And I'm looking at the app or the guide or whatever, and it's saying, well, that's over there and it's playing in 5 minutes. Why not? It's $12 and it's 20 minutes long. Like I might as well go and check it out, right? So yeah, we want to encourage people to play the near and next game, because that also allows you to maximize your Fringe experience, see the most shows, benefits the most people. You get those randos showing up in the audience, and you're like, who the heck is that? I must be doing something right. And it also has that element of adventure. It could be the best thing you've ever seen, this diamond in the rough. And of course, this is all subjective, or it could be horrible. And I have much better stories about horrible plays that I've seen than good plays. I don't know about you guys, but when I see a horrible play, the person I see it with, we're like,
we're always going to have this. It's a fun thing. Like, what's the worst thing that you could happen? You're going to be out $12 in 30 minutes of your life. No big deal. Be adventurous. See a lot of shows. Play near and next. So yeah, it's literally at the top of the app. Awesome. That was a big, long answer. Who has had their hands up for a while and is annoyed? Okay, yes.
First of all, thank you for all this valuable information.
You're welcome.
Great. My name is Mariela, and the name of my show is Rotten Apple. And my question is, like, I don't know, this is my first time here, but it's like, you were talking about workshops.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, good. Let's clarify that. As I said, there's the concept of workshop that some of us might know is that it's a play that's not quite ready yet, right? And I'm workshopping it, right? Okay, that's not what we mean by workshops. And there's always, every year, there are people who say, it's $50, that's cheap. That's cheaper than $300. And it's not quite ready yet. It's a workshop production. I'll choose that one. And then every year we need to email you, because your show is clearly not a workshop, and say, no, actually, what we mean by a workshop is a general educational experience with someone or some people that have a certain amount of knowledge about a thing, a person, place, or thing that they want to impart to a greater audience. That's what a workshop is in this context.
Or did you mean the Fringe workshops?
Oh, sorry.
I'm not sure.
We're confusing the hell out of people. It just dawned on me that those are the same things. Okay, so that's the workshop registration type. Everyone with me there?
Yes.
That's okay. Then, thank you. What a shitty name we use. Okay. Then there are the events that we throw. One of them is the town hall. There's the town halls where it's me and everyone at this point knows what that is. Okay, I don't have to explain to you. Then there are the office hours, which are like the bar meetups. And then there are the mixers, which are usually the things after the events and stuff. And then there's the workshops. Workshops are very, very valuable because you'll have a panel of Fringe veterans, people who have done 2, 3, 4, 7, not 11 years of Fringe. And you can ask them questions. So you hear directly from the veterans' mouths as opposed to some festival administrator's mouth. Does that make sense? So 2 types of workshops. There's the workshops that you can register as, and then there's the workshops you can go that are run by the Fringe that include veterans from the Fringe from whom you can learn things about how to.
Last week there was a workshop called How to Pick a Venue, and then the next workshop I believe is, someone help me with the next workshop.
Don't look at me, man.
So the workshops, the best thing to do is go on our YouTube channel and watch the 10 years of video of these workshops.
It's amazing.
And most of the information is evergreen.
Yeah.
And we'll be announcing the rest of them shortly.
What Dave said, youtube.com/Hollywood Fringe. And you will find at least, I'm doing math, 45, 50 workshops up there from various different years past. On a whole just go back and watch the 2019 workshops and you'll be in a good position. But also come because you can actually directly ask your questions and participate and meet people and make friends and all that good stuff. So, yes. Who else? Let's see, hold on. We've got 3 minutes. Okay, we're going to do a time-honored tradition of Fringe Festival town halls, which is called the lightning round. Okay, everyone who still has a question, hold up their hands. This is your last chance, people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Now it's honor system. I counted you, didn't I? Okay, is there one in the back? 9? Okay. Honor system. Now here's where it works. Ask your question, and I'm going to give you the most succinct answer I possibly can. But that's it. No more questions past this. I'm going to start from left. I'm going to start from house right to house left. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Hi. My name's Lily. I just moved to California 2 weeks ago. Yeah, super excited. So I have an untitled show in 2021.
Yes.
So I'm here to get started early.
Good job.
My question is, as like a first-time like professional creator out of college, in terms of paying the people you're collaborating with,
Yes.
I know like this is like probably a question of unions and not
Yes.
whatnot, but what is like a respectable way to like do that if there's no real rules?
You can watch Shakespeare in Love. Give them a percentage of the profits. There never are profits. Exactly. No. It's based on your budget. It's based on who you're working with. It's based on if they're union. It's based on what their expectations is. It's based on if are you collaborating? Are you about to start a company together? There's some sort of grand future that you can all promise them together. I mean, some people pay their actors. Some people don't. Of course, if you can do. But if everyone's on board and everyone's cool and everyone's not union, you're not under some sort of other constriction, and you physically, literally can't pay them, but you're not getting paid either. We're all doing this for fun and learning, and everyone's cool with that, cool. So it really depends. If you're 21 years old, directly out of college, speaking from personal experience, no one's expecting to make money. So it's like, that's great. But once you get more successful and you can, the suggestion is do. If you can, do. If you can't, make sure everyone's cool.
A lot of people do it for credit as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to work for you for free for the title or credit if they played this role.
Okay.
Okay, Lightning.
Lightning, next, yes.
My name is Stacey Kowalski, and I'm doing an educational workshop outside of this called How to Turn Your Story into a Book. And my question for you is, I just want to be clear. So it's $50 registration whether or not your workshop is free.
Yes, it doesn't make any difference. If it's free, if it charges money, it's still $50. If you have a registered show, then one is free. If you don't have a registered show in this year, then it's $50 and you can charge money or not charge money. Next, yes, coming at you.
Gordon, alcoholic addict. Oh, wrong meeting. So my play is No Matter What, aka Heroin the Musical, but I stroked that off. But my question is, if you registered for, if you applied for scholarship, it says something about in the scholarship you can't register, or you are automatically registered. So do I just gotta wait 2 weeks to find out whether I got the scholarship or not?
I believe you should know at this point if you want a scholarship.
We'll know everything by end of next week.
So
End of next week.
Can I pay for the registration and get reimbursed, or just
Sure,
wait?
but there's also no harm in waiting.
Yeah.
You have till April 1st before any ramifications come.
Right.
In general, it's a safe bet to book your venue first.
Yes.
Have that signed before you register. They will take your money.
We will.
Okay.
Next.
Hi, my name is Jansen Lalich. My show is The Sleepover. It's an immersive 90s middle school slumber party. Is there any exception to the 15-minute in, 15-minute out rule?
Yes, based on your venue. So ask your venue will set it. Great lightning question, by the way. Who's next? Yes.
Hi, my name is Mio Yamaguchi. It's the first time, and my project is an entertaining storytelling show called How to Be Japanese. My question is about the project description on the Fringe Festival.
Yes.
Fringe website.
Yes.
The short description is limited to 300
Characters. Yes.
And what is the recommended length for long description?
It entirely, it's not infinite, but it can be as long as you want to. The basic difference is that short description, it's what's going to go on like summary pages. So if like, show me everything in comedy on the website, and you're going to see the short descriptions. When you click through, you're going to see the long description. The short description is also what's going on the mobile app. So keep that in mind. You're not going to get a long description on the mobile app, just the short description. So I would say, like the nice thing about all these things, and the short description is also what's going in the guide. Okay, so the printed guide is the short description. The long description, be whatever you want. You can go on as long as you want, and you can put quotes in there. You can pull quotes from your reviews and put them in there. You can format them a little bit. All this fun stuff. I mean, obviously, don't make it a book. But you have an infinite amount of not infinite, you have an excessive amount of space to put in there. Does that answer your question? Good. Yes, next, yes.
Hi, my name is Ariel Hartman. My show is called
Chad, exclamation point, the musical. I have two quick questions. So number one, about the workshops, you said educational, things like that.
Yes.
Could we sign up to do a workshop as our character, as like a funny workshop?
Yes.
As part of promotion, or is that's a
Well,
yes,
would
you rather it be more like actually
You need to
skills
think it can't be like it shouldn't be an extension of a one-person show. Let me put it that way. Like a workshop isn't a one-person show. A workshop mainly is there's an educational component. Now, if you want to teach as your character, yeah, sure. And we want you to be promoted and all these sorts of things. But it can't be a one-person show.
No.
Right. But if you want, Chad or whatever.
Find your inner Chad.
Right, yeah, find your inner Chad. And it's about like, here's how to best put together a solo show or something like that. Totally in game. But there needs to be an educational component. It can't be just promoting my other show.
No.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Great.
And then I have a second question.
Second question
really quick. If we can't make a portion of the Fringe,
Yep.
is that a bad thing, or should we do it anyway? If it's just 5 days that we're out of town, but it's
Talk to your venue, we work around that.
Yeah. I mean, you should definitely do it in any case. But yeah, just make it work and keep in mind. Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Office hours?
Yes.
Do you guys do it any other nights?
Generally it's always Tuesdays.
Usually Wednesday
Wednesdays.
nights, once we
Wednesdays.
get
Wednesdays.
going with the weekly
So
ones.
you will have Wednesday nights available coming up.
I'm sorry?
You will have Wednesday nights available coming up?
For what?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
For like office hours?
Well, once we start in usually March, they're every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Who else is up here? Yes?
Yep, so hi, my name is Jair. My show is called Title I Am. It's about a superhero overcoming suicide. So, because the term suicide, like some subject of suicide is attached to my show, one of the ideas that I had was actually to reach out to like a mental health resource type organization and maybe dedicate one of the earnings of the show as a donation to that.
That's great.
Or is that something that's been done before? Is that
Yeah.
something that turns people off to like come
No.
to see a show or?
No, I think any sort of action like that is sort of a noble, obviously, act. I mean, that's not going to work against you, like at all. Like I would say that's a wonderful idea. If that's something that you can afford, then by all means, I think it's a wonderful gesture, and I think people in the community will respect you for it.
Our show is PTSD and suicide, and we did dedicate one of the shows and then the proceeds to our organization. So yes, you can absolutely do it, and they do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Did anyone else say yes? Yes. Last one.
Hi, my name is Bushra. I'm doing a one-person show at the Goldfield Paradox. Quick question on the website: when we create a project, are we allowed to edit the project description until we register?
Really good question. You can edit the project description until the end of time, but know that on April 15th, that's the guide like lockdown. After that, it is what it is in the printed guide. But you can change to the bitter end. You can change everything down to the title of your show. Not recommended, but you can change everything down to the title of your show until the bitter end. So yes, we never lock down any of that data, but know that data will be, there'll be a variance between what's in the printed guide and what's on the website. April 1st is the cutoff date to register. April 15th is this is your guide listening, people. This is what's going in. Last looks. Make sense? All right, guys. Yes. That's Tom. Go for it. Oh yeah.
A really super great place if you are not already in it. To join there is a Hollywood Fringe and LA Theater Facebook group. It has almost 3,000 people in there. So if you just search on Facebook, Hollywood Fringe and LA Theater, there's tons of participants in there. That's where you post your, I have a discount code, or I saw a show that was great, you should go see these guys, or whatever. So please answer the questions. And if you ask to join, because otherwise I'm not going to let you in. But answer the questions and I'll hopefully let you in.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.